Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world today. I hope you're absolutely fantastic. I've not put out too many predictions of late because the last video I did a prediction on, I think was about a month ago. Gonna get to the image, I think, which is this. So over here you can see when price was all the way back there. I have to have another look, probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago. It was actually before this. I said the prediction was going to go up, and that's what it looks like. It did exactly that. So let's have another look at that. All right, so I said with all of these factors, and I went through every single reason, it was going to go there, and that's exactly what it did. So let's find out what it wants to do next. I don't necessarily know if this is a turning point just yet, so I'm going to use the lower time frames to confirm, because when we look at the different components that make up our decision making, the one thing that I haven't seen here is a switch on the oscillator. So bear in mind that it is a little bit slower. When I say a little bit slower, I'm being quite facetious. It's like a lot slower on the higher time frames. And so there can be like a delay on the switch of the oscillator happening. So I'm not going to go solely on that. Again, MTOPS is a strategy that works together with the other components. There's no standalone element that is superior to everything else. But this one thing, this oscillator, says to me that I'm going to look at the lower time frames to figure out whether or not we've got a turning point happening over here, or if it wants to continue going up this 1/1 line. So let me just draw a little line there to... So if, for example, if it wants to go up a little bit higher, we'll have to see whether that happens or not. Okay, so that's what we're looking out for. Where it's not going to go is down there and there. So the only real option, if it doesn't confirm a turning point over here on the dominant trend direction, which again is only unique to my strategy, no one else on the planet has spoken about the 2048. And you can see how powerful it is, right? Like, this is a month ago saying what Bitcoin is going to do, a month ahead of time, multiple weeks ahead of time, and it does exactly that with high accuracy. There's the proof again. So this is the real deal stuff. All right. So what next? Well, and what next is patient, to be quite frank. The reason why patience is important is because it either comes down here, so that means it'll form a turning point 7 to 8, which I see is quite likely, or it does a final push to up there. And the reason why it would do exactly that is so that it can confirm an uptrend. That's kind of the only reason why I would want to do that. So if it goes down here, we've got a lower high, which means downtrend. If we go up here, it's a higher low, which means uptrend. What's confusing is just the way that this is shaped. As I've made mention to, for some reason the line isn't visible. So let me just check the coloring over here, because I think there's some settings or something. I've handed this project off to my developer whilst I got involved with AI. So I'm still figuring out his logic, because when it gets to coding, it's more about the person's logic who creates it than anything else, because it's all problem solving. So you kind of got to think like the person who's solving the problem. I don't know. Okay, that's not working. All right, so from 1 to 2 to 3 is what we're seeing here. So I'm going to just have a look and confirm whether or not this is a confirmed turning point. It can be. In other words, it dipped down. It didn't quite get anywhere there, but over here it just kind of stopped. And the reason why I would do something like that is to nominate a directional line, a support line to travel along. All right, so we're waiting for trend confirmation over here. Again, the way that this is shaped is suggesting that there's a turning point at least somewhere that wants to head up. So I'm not sure if it's here or somewhere lower. It seems to be here on this 1 to 8. Because if it does go in a downtrend, I think it'll try and get to somewhere around there. Mostly because of the 25% time forecast and the 29 on the cube root. And then something like that. So this is what I would say we watch for down here on the 1 to 8. However, if it does break above 7, that'll be a domino effect to the higher frames to say that we've got something going on. I don't really chart the lower time frames because I've got an AI that does the forecasting and trading for me, which is currently in development and beta testing. So I don't want to do information overload, to be quite frank, but it's the same process as you guys already know on every single time frame in exactly the same way. I don't even chart on the 8 minutes anymore because I know that it gives the dominant trend direction to the 30-second, which is great. However, I want to be quite brutal on the AI models to not necessarily need any other time frames. Like I wanted to pick up the groundswell from the lower time frames that will kind of domino affect the higher time frames. Although it doesn't work that way, the dominant trend direction on the higher time frames does flow down to the lower time frames. That's ideally what I'm going for. If not, I'm going to have to spend another year trying to train and integrate every single time frame together. But the step before that is to create an AI that automatically sets up all of the charts so that I can do years of information data instead of just a little bit of manual stuff that humans can only provide because we're slow and we just don't compete in comparison to how powerful the AIs can do it. So that's where I'm at. I've got more to say about that, but that's a different topic for a different video. So just to kind of leave this video in a typical market fashion, we're unsatisfied in the fact that we have to sit and wait for confirmations. So that's the conclusion. We wait. That's it for today, guys. If anything significant happens, I'll do an update. But my focus right now has been on refining coding and that kind of stuff. So the market moves, even though I'm getting the market accuracy a month ahead of time, isn't my necessarily primary focus. It has been for the last 6 years. But my attention is in the evolution of the game right now. So if you don't hear from me for the rest of the week, that's the only reason why I'm not ghosting anyone. I'm just trying to do some amazing stuff, which I'm pretty far ahead with, by the way. It's looking very promising. But anyway, have a good one. Ciao for now. And happy Mother's Day to everyone who celebrated Mother's Day recently. Ciao.